Okay, we'll begin by finding ourselves a seat. And I would recommend always, whether your practice is going to focus on resource today or not, you start with resource. You start with some part of your body or experience that is easily recognizable as peaceful or okay. I often do the little ritual of noting different aspects of my posture and body that are all resource. So I like to focus on the ground and focus on my spine and my uprightness, the energy of alertness, and then focus on relaxation. So way you can start. You give 5, 10, 15, or 30 minutes to just feeling this grounding, relaxing aspects of your experience. You can do any other kind of resource as well. As you're doing that, so you might want to start now feeling the breath in your belly or feeling your ground against the seat, your butt against the seat, reminding yourself that what we want to attach to is not the idea of our belly or the idea of our butt on the seat. Those are mental things to focus on, but the actual sensations in feeling space of your belly, of your butt on the seat. And if you're on your own, you might label, you can do it now as well, but I'm here to help. You might label it feel. And you're noticing heat and coolness, pressure, shape. If you, it's really important at the beginning of the practice that you do something that makes you come into the present moment. So if there is a sensation, how do you know you're really feeling the sensation? Well, you just get really curious about what it feels like right now. You can ask yourself a question like, where are the boundaries of this sensation right now? Where is the actual edge where I no longer feel this sensation? Or do I feel this more on the right or the left or the front or the back? Or is it colder or hotter here or there? These are questions that sound intellectual, but you can only answer them by directly experiencing something in the present moment. That's a little doorway into. You don't want to keep asking those questions, but once you taste the answer, oh yes, it's hotter here than it is here. That's the thing. That's the doorway into your practice. That's it right there. Presence. And in that sensation, there are none of your problems. There's none of your memory or history. There's nothing about your future. You're very unlikely that you could know your gender or your race or your family relationships. It's just a vibration. And you can go and focus on that. Feel, feel. So that's the first key, is getting into the actual sensations of the actual present moment. And then the second thing is staying with that as long as you can. And noticing when you get pulled out, and then doing what you need to bring yourself back to the actual sensations of this present moment. And it takes some time and practice to develop this ability, but you can start to have a continuous moment by moment, microsecond by microsecond awareness of your present moment sensations. Get more and more interested and more focused, deeper and deeper attention into the actual experience of the process of sensation in your body. If it's your belly and you're feeling the breath, you'll feel the in, you'll feel it go to the very top, and then you'll feel when it's ready to go out, and then you'll feel when it pauses, and then you'll feel when it comes in again. If you need a goal, which meditation is not about goals, but if you need a goal, that's a good goal. Can I feel one whole breath from beginning to end? Can I feel all of it the whole time without getting distracted by something else, thinking about something else, thinking about the breath, even just actually feeling it all the way from beginning to end? It's okay. At first, you will not be able to do this. At first, you will not be able to feel a single breath. You will miss the breath. That's all you have to do, and you will miss it. Some part of it, you will go, your mind will wander to something else. That's okay. And for some of us, that's exciting to realize, wow, that simple of a thing is that hard. And as you get better at it, you'll start to notice the benefits of being in the present moment, the resource of focus out here really is what it is. When in doubt, focus out, of just feeling sensations of the body that are not painful or emotional. So I'm going to do 10 breaths, and I'm going to show you what it's like to experience 10 breaths without your mind wandering. You don't have to watch me. You can just sit here with me as I do it. And then we will turn our attention to emotional feel in the body. So the first breath begins now. Feel, feel. So once you find yourself somewhat grounded, somewhat focused, somewhat peaceful in your meditation. If you've decided, then you can open your attention now to a wider experience of your body that includes emotional feel. So we're going to start in the belly, and we're just going to survey the parts of the body where emotions often show up just today. At any point that you start to feel overwhelmed or that it's like painful or a struggle, you just notice that for a second, sit with that for 30 seconds more, the difficulty, and see if it changes or see what the experience is like. Don't try to change it. And then if you need to, you can go back to finding resource in the body. We're going to start with the belly, but we're now inviting into our attention anything in our gut that feels somewhat emotional. If you don't feel anything emotional, realize that means that you are at peace in this part of your body, emotional peace, and just experience that. If you're not at emotional peace, but you're not feeling an emotion, then there's probably some numbness or tightness that you're not acknowledging as emotional, but that actually is emotion. We're not trying to name the emotion. That's okay. That can be part of your practice later on. But right now, we're just trying to notice any vibration, any heat, any pressure, any shape, any expansion or contraction, any tenderness or pain that feels like it's in the emotional space. And we'll just label it feel. If you want to separate it out from the other feel we were doing, you could label it feel in, for instance, or emotion. We're not trying to change it or figure it out or judge it as bad or good, just experiencing it as it is. There is some emotion in my belly. The ideal experience of emotion is in its movement, in its changingness, so that it can release, but we don't want to force it to do that. Many of the emotions we'll encounter at first feel kind of stuck because they've been there a while. They feel numb or hard or stiff or tight. That's okay. Just notice that tightness or numbness. Notice the little sense of it being a feeling and just sit with it. Notice if it changes at all, but otherwise just feel it. Explore its boundaries. So, say you're feeling something in your belly, maybe it's nervousness, but it doesn't matter what it is. You just notice this feeling and notice where is its boundary. Okay, where is its boundary to the left? How far around your body does this emotional feeling go? And where does it stop? This is a good way of not getting lost inside the emotion and noticing that it is taking place inside space. All right, now notice the same emotion. If it's still there, don't hold on to it. If it disappears, then notice the sensation of an emotion sort of disappearing or releasing. But if it continues to stay there, then notice where it disappears to the right. When you find a boundary of something, then you're experiencing both it and its absence. That's what a boundary is. And that's a very useful place to work with our feelings so that we can see that our feelings are not the entirety of our experience. They're just a small part of our experience. Right. Check the bottom and top boundaries of this emotion. And again, if it disappears, then just enjoy the relaxation into emotional peace. Or if it changes location, just follow it and find its new boundary. When we're working with feeling, we may get some emotional releases. Ultimately, since we're practicing in stillness in the meditation practice, you'll want to allow for those releases to happen as a sensation of heat or movement in the body, ultimately. But especially early on, or if you're working with something pretty intense, you might want to sigh or swallow or even shake a little bit if the emotion is encouraging that. That's fine too. Okay. So you have options at this point in your practice. You might want to go back to a resource for a while just to feel what it's like to have calmness and non activation. You may want to stay with this emotion. If you feel like it's sort of moving and is organically changing and growing and ultimately releasing, you might just want to stay with it and let that process continue. We're not going to do this today, but you also might notice the emotion moving into other parts of your body, and you could stay with that expansion and follow it as it releases throughout the body. Or fourth, you can do what we're doing today, and you can move up into the solar plexus region and notice any emotions there. Reminding yourself that an emotion can show up as any of your sensations, including a sensation of numbness or tightness. And if there really is no emotional feel in that part of the body and you feel that part of the body, then you might notice a sensation of emotional peace. Ah, this part of my body is at emotional peace. If you're not sensing much and it doesn't feel like it's an emotional piece, then there's probably a kind of numb tightness that is emotional but hasn't been revealed to you yet. And then you just give that space and feel it. What is the boundary of that numbness, of that tightness? To the left and the right. Is it hot or is it cold? What is the boundary to the top and the bottom? Is it expanding or contracting? Even does it want to expand or contract? You could ask that question if it seems still. Inside and outside, what is the boundary going into your body, coming out of your body? Always with the option to re-attend to something good in your body, the butt on the seat. Oh, yes, I'm still grounded. There's my emotion, and there's the feeling of the butt on my seat. This is very important to remember that the emotions are happening in space. They are not the entirety of your experience. You can always sigh or shake if you want to let something go, or if it's just a little bit uncomfortable. Don't force it. Just notice, does your body want to do that? And it's okay for today to let that movement happen. Again, we're going to move up into the heart, but you can now take some moments back in resource, moving your attention to something that feels good or peaceful. You can continue working with this area if it feels like a good idea for you today. You can follow the release of this feeling into other parts of the body, or you can continue with us to the heart area, starting with the sternum and then spreading out over the chest. This is an area with a lot of big emotions, especially our social or relational emotions. We'll start here. If you're feeling kind of, by the way, these emotions do not have to be bad, right? You could feel joy, as I am right now, feeling joy and love in this area of my body. But this is where we also keep a lot of our relational wounds. And so you might feel some pain as well. Or instead, what is the boundaries of this experience? Is it vibrating? Is it hot? Is it cold? Is it painful or not? Is it stop to the left? Does it stop to the right? Does it stop to the bottom, to the top, in and out, all three dimensions? Does it want to contract or does it want to expand? And although it may want to move into other parts of your body, you just want to stay with this part for a while without running away to the next part of the body. So you just stay with the heart. You feel your heart. And again, many of us have a very numb heart that's been closed off for a while, and there's good reasons for that. So we're just giving it a little bit of attention. We are not in a rush. The key attitude is acceptance. What does our heart want to feel like today? If it's kind of frozen, then it's going to take many sessions of loving attention for it to thaw. There's no rush. Many of you have heard me talk about our emotions like a rescue dog. And some rescue dogs are nervous and they're not going to let you cuddle with them right away. They need to be approached in a cautious and calm way so they eventually will trust you enough to open up to you. That is the key attitude of acceptance. And so you just pay attention to what is actually being offered you. You don't need to figure it out or judge it as bad or good. If you find its boundaries, where does this emotion begin and end? The left and the right, the up and the down, the in and the out. This is a feeling sensation in the body. How does it feel? Is it hot or is it cold? Is it vibrating? Is it pulsing? Is it sizzling? Does it want to contract or does it want to expand? And you can always sigh. And you feel a release. If you do get a sensation of release of an emotion, even if it's a small amount of the emotion, even if it's just a little portion of it, you want to feel that release because that is still the emotion. That is the ending of the emotion or the culmination of the emotion. So, or at least that part of the emotion. So you want to feel it all the way to the end. You want to feel that release all the way to the end. And let that naturally take you back into resource. That emotion released and it made me feel a little heavier in my seat, a little more relaxed, a little more grounded, a little more peaceful, a little more joyful. By doing this, you teach your body that it's okay to feel these feelings because when we fully feel them, they release into peacefulness. That is their natural pattern. And yes, as they get more intense, they might feel less comfortable. But as we move through that intensity, eventually we get returned back to peacefulness. We don't have to do that all in one sit or even in multiple sits. But eventually, if we really sit with an emotion, it will move to equilibrium, peace. When we give attention to an emotion, it will generally increase its sensation. Sometimes very slowly if it's shielded or numb, sometimes very quickly and very intensely, and that's okay. As we get better at sitting with things in space, we can allow bigger and bigger feelings to move through our body while we sit, and we can watch those releases happen. Let us move into the throat if you want to, or you can stay with any emotion you have. If you are starting to feel too activated or this is too much, and it very well could be, we've just sampled emotions from 3 parts of your body, go back to resource. There's no rush here. I just want you to get a sense that there might be emotion sitting in all these places. So check out your throat. You can always use the breath as an anchor. So notice the breath coming into the throat and out. And then just notice what emotion you might be feeling, what physical sensation might feel emotional in the throat as that breath comes in and out. Again, don't rush. Can you notice the boundary of it? When you have a release, like I just did there, you sit in the release. That is also an emotional feel. That is a feeling of peace or relief, satisfaction. You don't need to immediately go right back into something difficult. You can sit with the sensation of something having moved through you. And let's finish up today by touching in on the face. Again, no rush. You can do the face another day if it's feeling like too much, but just notice, is there any emotional content in your face? Your face is a very complex area. Actually, all these areas are complex. But the face, there's the mouth, there's the jaw, there's the back of the mouth, there's the cheeks, there's the eyes, there's the forehead. These are all very common places one might feel emotion, or all of them at once. If you're feeling sensation in your face that has an emotional feel, notice its boundary. Does it go all the way to your ears? Does it go into your hair? No, no, it does not. Now you feel your hair and like the emotion is not there. Okay. And where is the emotion? Ah, it's there in the cheeks, in the mouth. Notice, does it go all the way back into your head? Do you feel it in your brain? No? Okay. There's the boundary. How far out into space do you feel it? Do you feel it over all your skin or not? So there's an emotion you feel on your face, maybe, but it has a boundary, and it's not the entirety of your human experience. It's just one little part of your feeling sensations. Okay. If you're feeling really good, like this has been a positive experience, an easy experience, then you can just open your attention to everything from the face all the way down to the lower belly and just sort of sit with your present moment emotional feeling. If it's been difficult at all sort of painful, it's very likely that it has been a little bit, then go to something that you use as a resource. Feel the breath, feel the ground. You can also focus out with your other senses. You could listen to the silence or my voice, listen to the wind, or you could open your eyes. You could keep your eyes closed and focus on the blank behind your eyelids, or you could open your eyes and just focus on a color. Do not give short shrift to these resource practices. You need to let your body know that it's okay to feel these emotions because you can get yourself back to equilibrium. So you want to spend the time necessary. And so we return back to the initial practice. Can you feel this present moment sensation in some part of your body that feels okay? Feel, 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 feel. Do you need to ask yourself a question? Like, is it heavier on the right or the left? Is it cooler or hotter? Where does it begin and end? So that you, when you answer that question, feel something that is right here in this present moment and that is okay. Ultimately, all your sensations will become resource ones because they're all just fine. But at first, it won't feel that way. So you want to practice with the easy stuff first. Okay, so for those on YouTube or on Instagram, I'm going to stop now, but you should take as much time as you need to get grounded, to sit in resource. Don't run away if you're feeling uncomfortable. Use your meditation practice to bring your body back to equilibrium as best you can without a struggle, just by using your attention to focus on resource. And then get up, move how you want to move, open your eyes. Those of us on Zoom are going to have a little discussion and report. Thank you for stopping by Instagram. And YouTube.